Biden being diagnosed with cancer, are you going to call your predecessor?
I think it's very sad, actually. I'm surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time. And it takes a long time to get to that situation. Now, I think, to get to a stage 9, I think that if you take a look, it's the same doctor that said that Joe was cognitively fine. There was nothing wrong with him. Well, he said, if it's the same doctor, he said there was nothing wrong there, and that's being proven to be a sad situation. There are things going on that the public wasn't informed, and I think somebody's going to have to speak to his doctor. If it's the same, or even if it's two separate doctors, why wasn't the cognitive ability, why wasn't that discussed? And I think the doctor said he's just fine, and it's turned out that's not so. It's very dangerous. Look, this is no longer politically correct. This is dangerous for our country. Look at the mess we're in. You're talking about all these questions on Ukraine and Russia that would have never happened. As an example, if I were president, it would have never happened. The other thing is you have to say, why did it take so long? I mean, this takes a long time. It can take years to get to this level of danger. So it's a very, very sad situation, and I feel very badly about it. And I think people should try and find out what happened, because I'll tell you, I don't know if it had anything to do with the hospital. Walter Reed is really good. They're some of the best doctors I've ever seen. I don't even know if they were involved, but a doctor was involved in each case. Maybe it was the same doctor, and somebody is not telling the facts. That's a big problem.
Yeah, look, I mean, first of all, of course, we wish the best for the former president's health. And, it sounds pretty serious, but hopefully he makes the right recovery. Like, I will say, whether the right time to have this conversation is now or at some point in the future, we really do need to be honest about whether the former president was capable of doing the job. And that's no, that you can separate the desire for him to have the right health outcome with the recognition that whether it was doctors or whether there were staffers around the former president, I don't think he was able to do a good job for the American people. And that's not politics. That's not because I disagreed with him on policy. That's because I don't think that he was in good enough health. In some ways, I blame him less than I blame the people around him. And why didn't the American people have a better sense of his health picture? Why didn't the American people have more accurate information about what he was actually dealing with? This is serious stuff. And this is the guy who carries around the nuclear football for the world's largest nuclear arsenal. This is not child's play, and we can pray for good health, but also recognize that if you're not in good enough health to do the job, you shouldn't be doing the job. Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a safe trip. See ya.
Yeah, so everyone always asks about could this have been caught earlier? We are assuming that he was getting his routine checks done, routine lab work done. I, in my own office, have seen where someone will be all normal, whether they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and all of a sudden we see differences and changes and we diagnose them with aggressive cancer. So I don't think anything was missed, but when it comes to like the right now, I'm not really sure how to answer that question. When did he have this? When did he not have it? What I do know, statistically speaking, a lot of men in their 80s have prostate cancer. That's just inside of them. It doesn't really affect them. I personally think age is going to become a big factor in how much they want to do, how aggressive they want to be with the treatments, because the treatments have their own risks, their own side effects. So either you get affected by the cancer or you get affected by the treatments. And in that age group, we have to be very sensitive to that.
Sometimes you can have normal or mid-range PSA values and then have an aggressive tumor that rapidly accelerates in the 1 year between your PSA checks. This certainly could have been what happened with the president. We certainly don't know as well if he had been monitored along those lines. Additionally, there are some forms of prostate cancer where you really don't get an elevated PSA, a prostate-specific antigen, nothing that would rise to a concern. And he also may have one of those subtypes as well.
And a family cat with the message, cancer touches us all. Like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support. And as I said, the well wishes came quickly from national and world leaders, including Sunday on Truth Social. with President Trump posting, quote, Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. We extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and the family, and we wish Joe a
偷偷告诉大家，我最近发现了新法宝 Royal Face 逆时奇迹系列，它有活肤露、全效精华，还有精华霜。尤其我皮肤比较偏干，所以我非常的注重保湿。保湿做得好，肌肤自然烹饪。提亮肤色更年轻，抚平皱纹超有感，而且气色变好。用心保养，每天都更美丽。美吧。